Hey guys and gals, Scott down at Enduro America. Today I'm going to do a little video on this Motocompo. It's a 1982 Honda Motocompo. Stay tuned. Alright, so I'm down in the shop today. We've got the Motocompo up on the stand. Finally, I've had this thing up at the house forever. It's just been sitting. I ran a little bit of fresh fuel through it, a couple weeks ago. It was running a little funny. I sourced a brand new carburetor for it, thinking like I'll just swap the carb out because I really didn't want to. I don't have time to mess with a lot of little projects here anymore. We're down from 32 bikes. This is like number 6, I think. We have 6 bikes left between the house and the shop here now that we're kind of liquidating. We're just getting rid of everything. I think the only bike I'm going to keep is probably the Covey and an old Easy 90 that I had gotten from my aunt when she passed away. But today's video is going to be about the Motocompo. Let me get the camera switched around here. I'll show you what I'm doing. So, we've got her up on the work stand. I just went ahead, I don't know if you guys remember from the previous videos, it had some really weird stickers on here. So I sourced some decals, and I just swapped those out. Matter of fact, there's one sitting right here still. I stuck it down here. It was just a weird, funky colored one. I wanted to bring this back to stock form. So we've gone ahead and done a few things to this bike now. I still have a couple things to do. This is the new, or wait a sec. Is this the new, yeah, this is the new carburetor that I sourced. Original parts. I've got a new set of grips and stuff for it with the original little dots and everything on them. These are the original Motocompo grips. And these ones aren't in bad shape. I just thought, it always freshens up a bike when you put new grips on it. So we're going to slap those on there today, maybe polish up some of the aluminum that's up on the handlebars here. There's no odometer on these bikes, but this does have this little kilometer per hour gauge. And the skirting on the original one was cracked, this little skirting down here. So I thought, okay, we're going to replace that too. So I was able to source that. It also had a little crack on this back piece right here. And that piece is included, and it very well could be repaired pretty easily. But that piece is included with the bike as well. It's just cracked in half right here. It still goes on here just fine, but I did source this. We put this cool little license plate deal on here because where we live, we do not have to have any registration of any type, so it doesn't really matter what you have back here because it's 50 cc's or less. Overall, the thing's in good shape. The stator cover, I did put a new one of these on, and I'll show you the reason why. This one had a scrape and a dent in it. The dent was actually pretty bad. I don't know if somebody kicked it, dumped it over, whatever, if it got hit on something. But I put a new one of those on. I've got new tires that I just shipped in from Japan. I've also got there's new tubes and a bunch of other stuff in here too. A new ignition system if you ever needed it. I found a bunch of parts. And matter of fact, the ignition stuff came along with this cover. Well, I didn't realize when I bought this bike, originally I bought it sight unseen, which don't ever do. But I got this cover with it, which is in really nice shape. The problem was it had the lock, but it did not have the internals. So when you take your key and you turn this deal, you can see inside here there's little things that kind of move. When you unlock it and lock it, and it locks this in place. Well, I didn't realize when I bought this, or when I bought the bike, it was missing all of that stuff. So total bummer. I'm sure somebody tore it out of there and probably just sold it thinking like, oh, I can get a good penny for that because you can't get that stuff anymore. So long story short, I bought this off eBay for like $300. Well, I get it, and I did not realize that the other half of the cover, this half, was missing off the dang thing. He only had the one picture. I didn't even think to ask. I just clicked the buy it now, had it shipped here, and I was like, hey, what the heck, man? That stuff is missing. So total bummer on that. But everything on here is pretty functional. I will I'll show you guys kind of a here's me holding the pipe right here. I mean, everything is cold as can be. So this thing hasn't been started. I just turned the fuel on. This fuel's actually on. Probably a good thing. I'll get the choke up and turn this thing on and show you all how good this thing runs. Usually it'll fire off first kick, and I mean this is me starting it by hand, so let's see. Yeah. First kick, a little bit of smoke. It likes that choke for a minute, so we'll leave that choke on. so that's choke off now. Thing runs like a champ. I mean, I don't think these bikes really ever got a lot of use. So if you guys don't know the story behind the Motocompos, kind of how these came about was this was an accessory to a car. So in Japan, they had the Honda, what the heck was it? The Honda City, and then the Honda City Turbo and Turbo 2 cars. They were like tiny little hatchback Honda Civics, basically. And this bike, the only way that you could buy these was as an accessory to the car. So this, Honda never produced this as a mass production type of bike. I want to say, and don't quote me exactly on this, I think there were only about 50,000 of these ever produced. That's the entirety of all of them ever. So this was obviously imported then from Japan at some point. I bought it from a gentleman up in, gosh, he was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and brought it back down here, and I've kind of been going through it. And if you guys watch my previous videos too, don't buy these bikes sight unseen. You gotta know what you're getting. You can get yourself buried into one of these in a hurry. Parts availability is scarce. Okay, so keep that in mind with a bike that's only 50,000 of them out there. Parts availability is very scarce, and they're very difficult to find. Parts are, there's some stuff floating around on eBay. eBay's probably your best bet for anything like this. I got hooked up with a gal over in Japan that shipped over a bunch of stuff, which was pretty cool. So they have a little more access, the Asian countries, to sourcing things for these bikes. So keep that in mind. If you're in a hurry and you're a normal typical American that needs your parts next day, it's not going to happen with this type of bike. The nice thing about this one is everything on here has been gone through at this point. The majority of everything that it really needed is done, and I've got spare parts for the stuff that's probably going to go wrong. So it's a tiny little two-stroke 50cc, so not a difficult little deal to ever have to work on. But I'm going to finish this up. I'm not 100% sure. I might just we're going to sell this bike, unfortunately. I'm kind of bummed about it. We've had our fun with it, though. We've ridden it around, but it's been sitting for a good bit over just down at my house. And I thought, well, we'll get it to the shop, give it a once-over, make sure everything's kosher and good on it, and then we're going to post this thing up for sale. Not sure on price quite yet. We've got a lot into it. I paid way too much when I bought it. But it's one of those things where if you want something like this, you're just going to have to pay for it. I mean, honestly, I think it was worth it. Like, the amount of joy that it brought me the short term that I had it, and the amount of kind of buzz around them, and that, there's so many people that are so into this sort of thing. I mean, and you don't see these everywhere. This is like rare as hen's teeth. I mean, you just do not see this type of bike. And when you see this thing out, everybody wants to know what it is. Everybody wants to come talk to you. Everybody just kind of goes nuts for it. Like I say, I brought it to a little car show one time, and nobody cared anything about any of the cool cars that were there. It was all like, wow, what is a Motocompo and where can I get one? So a lot of buzz around the bikes. They're really, really, really cool. But yeah, and again, unfortunately, we're gonna part with this one soon. But she's pretty much ready to go. Runs really well. I don't think it needs anything. I mean, I've gone through it and ran it, so should be all good to go for its new owner. But I don't know. I'm excited to kind of see what happens with it in the next little journey. But I'm going to include the tires and all the spare parts and all the goodies with it as well, so somebody's got a good running platform for many, many years to come. But if you guys have any questions on this thing, holler at me. Let me know. Leave me a message, leave a comment in the comment section below. I try to respond to every single comment. I know it gets difficult if there's a ton of them, but we'll have this up and posted soon. And again, if you have questions, if you like these kind of videos, go ahead and like and subscribe. I am going to set this camera up, and I'm going to go outside and try to ride this thing around a little bit too, so you guys can kind of get the full scale for it. And I'll do that in a sec here as well. I'll probably stitch that somewhere into this video. We'll see. All right, let's take this thing for a ride. such a cool bike. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. So fully automatic, obviously. We've got a horn. We've got blinkers. Let's see if all of our... We've got left, right. And brake light. Yep. So everything works exactly how it should. So she scoots along pretty well. It's just so cool. I mean, you just don't see stuff like this anymore. Nothing this cool, anyway. There she is, ladies and gents. I don't know if maybe you want to see it all folded up too. I can fold this thing up and show it to you one more time. I'd have to go get the other cover to completely cover this front section here. But we can do that too. Let's do a fold up. I'll just set this camera here again and show you guys. So you start by taking the key out. Got it all mashed up here. So you unlock this, and this pops up. And again, this is the piece that I told you was missing. I've got the other one, the window cover, in the garage. So the seat just folds down like this. It goes right straight flat. This mirror, you kind of fold in and down. It's all snug down in there. Mirror is a little bound up here. Fix that here. There we go. Lock that back into place, and that's pretty much it. Like I say, the other cover will cover the entirety of this front cap as well. But that's it. All folded up. Alright, nice tight into itself. And then these pegs obviously will go up as well. So you can put the foot pegs up, and that gives you even a little more clearance. And that's it. Basically turns itself into a tiny suitcase of a motorcycle. So pretty neat. I don't know what the actual, I mean, the top speed on this thing is probably, if I had to take a guess, maybe 25 or 30 miles an hour at the most. Again, you'd have to look up the specs. I don't know. It's in kilometers per hour on the actual gauge itself. And it does seem to work just fine. The gauge works, so I don't know what the conversion is if you're going 40 kilometers an hour. I don't know how fast you're going. But I don't know. It's a pretty cool little bike. Like I say, if you guys have any questions on this thing, go ahead and shoot a comment in the comment section below. And hopefully we'll have a couple more videos like this. Thanks for watching.